Fiji, and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind. This week's episode is another interesting one. Some supermarkets have been found not complying with the Food Safety Act rather, and regulations. Not only that, restaurants have also been found failing to meet the required standard of hygiene. The Consumer Council is an advocacy organization dedicated to protecting the rights and interests of consumers by promoting fair and just delivery of goods and services. Our guest today is the Chief Executive, Seema Shandil, and we've also got with us the Manager Campaigns, Information and Media, Tevita Vuimbao. A warm welcome to the both of you.
Thank you, and a very good afternoon to all the listeners in Fiji.
Now, what I am going to start off first now, to the CEO, Seema Shandil, you've said that there's a growing disregard of hygiene practices in supermarkets and restaurants. But firstly, let's start with the restaurants. It's been in the news recently that eateries have not been complying with hygiene practices and failing to meet standards. Can you please give us some examples of what has been discovered by the Consumer Council?
Thank you. During, the Consumer Council's main function is also to carry out surveys, monthly surveys, and we do normally what we do is we do trader and service visits, and also based on incoming complaints. A lot of complaints were coming against restaurants about substandard food being, provided, and also about the hygiene issues. So based on all those complaints, what we did was we went out and surveyed almost 74 restaurants around the country. And the issues, like, it was really alarming to see that, most of the restaurants were infected. There were presence of vermin, and also substandard, the quality of food was really substandard. Substandard quality food was being provided to consumers. The prices are really high, but at the same time, the quality of food was not as expected. And in many places we found that, a complaint actually came, and this complaint was against one of the prominent restaurants in Fiji, where, a dish of, if we are taking your family out for dinner or lunch, the cost of the entire dinner or lunch would be more than $100. And yet, when they were served with their dishes, together with the food came the cockroach, the cooked cockroach.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that is really disgusting. So yeah, we went to do our regular checks and also to check on the complaints. And after our investigation, we found out that these places were very highly infested with cockroaches and all other flies, cockroaches, and the places were not well kept. They were poor sanitary and hygiene. Really, the hygiene was not maintained. And most of the time you'll see rubbish scattered everywhere. So you must have seen the pictures on TV. We actually we came on TV and we showed the consumers on all the pictures that we actually got during our surveillance.
Yes, I remember seeing it. That's just a shame,
Exactly, yeah. So,
goodness me, how can they be serving food? They don't
to
care about us.
Exactly, to our surprise, the restaurant's grading system was actually came into effect in 2012, and because the food establishment regulation came into effect in 2011, whereby all the restaurants were supposed to be inspected and graded accordingly.
Okay, that's the grading system, I believe, that you have been talking about. How does it work?
Actually, the municipal councils, they are responsible for grading the restaurants. So when it came into effect in 2012, the health inspectors were supposed to go and inspect these restaurants and grade them accordingly to the hygiene standards. So they are certain checklist. So they have to go according to the checklist, and so the grading is done from A to D. So those who are 90% compliant are awarded A grade, 80% compliant are graded B, C are 70% compliant, and D are 60% compliant. So those who are C and D, if they are graded C and D, they are given areas of improvement. So and that improvement needs to be carried out within 7 days. Should they don't do that, should they not comply with the given notice, they can be, taken. The legal action can be taken against them, and at the same time they can be asked to close. If they are non-compliant continuously, they can be asked to close the restaurant.
Okay, so this grading system, rather, is it just for the councils to see, or is it visible to the public?
It is supposed to be visible to the public. So when you enter the restaurant, it should be placed somewhere which is really visible to the public.
I
So most
see.
of the time you will see that in front of the serving counters. But it's sad to say that even now we don't have, a lot of restaurants have not been graded. So we are now working with the municipal councils to make sure that all the restaurants receive their gradings.
Okay.
And with the health inspectors from the municipal council, they are expected to at least make 4 to 6 unannounced visits to these restaurants in order to inspect and make sure they highlight the areas that needs to be improved.
Okay. So if restaurants are found to be dirty, can the owner be held accountable, and how? Maybe you'd like to answer that, Devita?
Yeah, sure. So if restaurants are found to be dirty by the health inspectors, there is a legal recourse for the municipal councils to take them to task.
Yes.
So in that regard, it's we constantly advise consumers, if you do find a restaurant that has not been graded, it's important to contact the council, or at least let the individual municipal councils know that the restaurants have not been graded.
See, that's a big problem as well. I mean, the consumer has a responsibility as well to, if they see some, a restaurant being dirty, they're, back where they use their kitchen, they should report to the Consumer Council of Fiji. Is that right?
Exactly. We are encouraging all the consumers, supposedly if they enter a restaurant and they find out that, it is not up to the standard, like they're up to the expectations in terms of hygiene, or they are selling food which is, or not of that quality, they can always take pictures and report it to Consumer Council. We also have a toll-free line, which is 155. They can always give us a call and then via the evidences to us so that we can go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
So thank you so much. 155. So be sure to call if you come across a really dirty restaurant next time. We have to do this so they can stop, just taking the consumers for granted. They just don't care about us. They're just caring about their money.
Yeah.
Hey, but we'll be back in a moment. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Do stay with us. Back on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits, and you're most welcome to call if you'd like, and you can do so 3220906, or if you have a Digicel phone 77320906, because we've got two very good people here with us, the CEO of the Consumer Council, Seema Shandil, as well as the Manager Campaigns, Information and Media. Now, we left off about the restaurants, and do you think that we've covered all that you want to with the restaurants, or is there something else that you'd like to add?
Definitely, the consumers need to know that they have certain rights and also certain responsibilities. As I have already highlighted, as for their responsibilities, if they are going to eat out and if they think that that restaurant is, are not meeting the expectations, or if they are not hygienic, please do not buy from, because nobody is forcing you to buy from somewhere. You can make your decision, make an informed decision. Look at the grading system. They can ask for the grading system. If they are at the restaurant and if it's not visibly, available, they can't see it, they can always request for the grading system from the owners. And also their right is, if they see that they are not well informed, they can always raise their concerns with the Consumer Council of Fiji or any other relevant authority, which is like the Ministry of Health or the municipal councils.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. Just don't go and eat takeaways. That might teach them a lesson to clean up their kitchens.
So true, yeah. Because we really need to, to be more proactive as consumers. We need to speak out, because we can only bring about changes if we are able to speak out. And this is the reason why I'm urging the consumers to speak out. They have the rights. They have the rights to safety, right?
Yes.
They have the right to be informed. Because when they are going out, they are paying for whatever they are buying, so they need to be provided with items that is safe for consumption and which is healthy.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you never know. Sometimes they, because they're cooking for the masses, they just do it any old how. They don't really care, and you think you're having a delicious plate of food. Devita, would you like to add on to what the CEO has mentioned.
Sure, yes, and so while consumers do have responsibilities, we really do urge the individual restaurant owners and the traders to be voluntarily compliant with these grading standards. It's good for them, it's good for consumers. If you voluntarily comply, you're assured of return business because consumers will see that you do provide safety in your food preparation processes. So complying is really in the interests of everybody.
I mean, it's a personal thing. I mean, even if I owned a business, I'd like it to be clean. I mean, you're paying your workers. I'm sure they can keep it clean and keep everything covered. Who knows, all the rats running around.
And definitely, it's a win-win situation. If you keep your business clean, hygienic, and provide good food, definitely you will be getting the consumers back. You'll be getting more customers because the word of mouth is really a strong, you can say, a strong tool. They can talk about your restaurants and they can, sort of sell your business to other people, saying that that particular restaurant is so hygienic and they provide good food for this price. So it's like a win-win situation for both the customers and the business owners,
I
the
mean,
restaurant owners.
Exactly. I mean, you can just walk into a restaurant and just take one look around and say, it's dirty.
Exactly.
Just like if you get in a taxi, and the taxis, I don't pick a dirty taxi, I pick a clean taxi. Anyway, yes, very good point. So, I mean, if you're listening now and you have something that you'd like to complain about, this is the time to do it. 3220-906 or 7732-906. Now, it's been in the news recently that the supermarkets now we're going to move on to, that they have, a certain supermarket. Maybe you would like to elaborate on supermarkets also not caring about us, the consumer.
Yeah, well, with the supermarkets, what we have seen is there are recurring issues like.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I think I've got a caller. Just give me a second. We'll get back to that question. Speak your mind. Gold FM, how may I help you?
Hi, I'm just listening to the Talkback show, and I just had a question. Is it okay to raise that?
Oh, that's fine. What's your name?
I'm Hemant. I'm calling from Nandi.
Okay, thank you.
I listening to this, and it's great that the Consumer Council has identified issues. My question was, they are authorities that issue business licenses for restaurants to operate. And generally, I believe these are the city councils or the town councils.
Yes.
How come they, and these are done annually from what I know, so how come they are unable to pick up all these problems? How come they continuously keep getting their licenses renewed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Yeah, in response to your questions, yeah, we are asking the same question to the municipal councils now because, all the grading of the restaurant should have been completed because, as I have said, the food grading system came into effect in 2012. So we have posed the same questions to the Ministry of, the municipal councils, and now they have assured us. And yes, you are so true. It is done annually. The licenses are renewed annually, and that poses a big question. Why was it not done there and then? Why were they renewed? They were renewed of the license to operate because we know that there are so many issues because we have already highlighted these issues. So we have had talks with the municipal councils, and now they are going to start with the grading. They're going to start grading the restaurants once again, and hopefully in future these issues are solved.
Thank you so much for answering the question. And wasn't that a great question, too?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we'll get back to the supermarkets. It's encouraging to see enforcement being carried out on behalf of the consumers. And as I've said, a supermarket recently surveyed had been found not to be compliant with the Food Safety Act and regulations. So you can continue with that, Sima.
Okay, so we were just saying they are still, the problem with the supermarkets, what we see is it's all recurring issues, right? So the issues with food items, that is meat products, fruits and vegetables, they continue to sell rotten fruits and vegetables. Sometimes when you go to the supermarkets, you must have observed, or you must have seen that, the foods are, the fruits especially, does not come cheap. We want to promote healthy living, and yet we are selling rotten fruits to our consumers.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I've seen
So,
that, yes.
Yeah, you must have seen it. So that's one. Then the other issues are with selling expired food products. Just recently, I was discussing with my team. I went to buy my regular groceries from one of the leading supermarkets, and what I saw was that this was the tin tomatoes, which was on special, so it was going for $5, and people were just buying. And I was shocked to even see that people were not checking for the expiry days. Because when I saw that tin, there were no expiry dates, there were no manufacture days, and when I sent my staff on Monday to check, the items were sold out because it was
Oh,
so
dear.
cheap and people bought it, but nobody realized that there was no manufacture date and there was no due date on that particular item.
That's bad. But we'll be
Yeah.
back soon on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. Thank you for being with us. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And our guest today in the studio with us is the CEO of the Consumer Council of Fiji. And this is Seema Shandil, as well as Tevita Vuimbao, who is the Manager Campaigns Information and Media. You're most welcome to call if you have a question, 3220906, or a complaint. You can also call 77-32906. Now, we were talking about the canned tomatoes and how you said there was no information whatsoever on it. So you can continue from there.
Yeah, so as I was saying, there was no expiry date, manufacture date. So these are some of the things that consumers, Consumer Council have been harping on this, that these are some of the things that the consumers need to check before they buy any food items.
Right.
Because we get so enticed with specials that we forget to check what is supposed to be there on the labels.
So true.
And yeah, also you will that's as I'm saying. So if you go look at the dairy products, right? The dairy products are also you'll see that it has either reached almost the expiry date or it's already expired. And sometimes they also sell if the product is about to expire in a day or two, then they reduce the price. And most of the time you will see our consumers trying
They
to buy.
do
I mean,
buy
I
it.
know because it's quite cheap and most of the time we can't afford it, but then we will have to realize that the contents will not be as fresh as we want it to be.
Yes. Okay, so what is your advice? You've said that consumers need to have a look at the expiry date. There's different, there's best by, there's, expiry date, use by date. I think there's 3 different labels that they give. Is that right, Tevita?
Yes, that's correct. And consumers, when they read these dates, it's if they are unsure of what the dates mean or how to read the dates, you can just as easily ask the supermarket attendants, or you can call the National Consumer Helpline, like we mentioned on 155. Our attendants are always ready to help you. The business hours are the same as working hours. And if you cannot get through to the helpline, you will be able to leave a message, and we will be able to assist you later on.
I mean, if the consumers keep reporting, we can actually put a stop to this. I mean, the power of the consumer should be exercised, I reckon.
The solidarity of the consumers, right? Because we
Yes.
need them to speak out. We need them to continuously, if they are seeing that there is something wrong and they need to get together, we together can make the change. Only Consumer Council cannot work alone to make the change. We need the support of the consumers. We need them to come to us, complain as many complaints as we can receive. Then that becomes it gives us a base to fight for them.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you're listening right now, be sure to report anything that you see that is not right and harmful to the consumer. And just thinking about the supermarkets again, bad meat, or maybe, how can they do that to us? I mean, I'm sure some people feed their dogs better food than bad meat. So how can, they do this?
Yeah, you're so true. When you next time if you happen to go, you just observe this meat, you will see that it has discolored, or sometimes
Yes.
it's thawed, thawed very soft. So these are some of the issues that we have seen, that we can't say rotten, but most of the time what we can see is that it's discolored, yellowish in color, or it's thawed, which is not good for. Normally what we see is that it's not really good for consumption because the color has changed.
Ooh, yeah, terrible. But when you
And-
say thawed, maybe they're trying to save their electricity. They switch off their fridges at night and maybe switch it on. I'm just saying.
The council has actually come across cases in the past where the meat is thawing, but it's thawing in freezers because the freezer has been overpacked. So there's a freezer line,
Yeah.
and there's just too much meat in the freezer. As a result, it cannot cool adequately to keep the meat at a constant temperature. So the meat has started to thaw. And we have in the past with the health inspectors, conducted inspections of freezers. This has resulted just recently. We had cases where up to more than 10 tons of meat was condemned just because of the condition it was kept in the freezer, and it was visibly thawing. And we could say that it was probably not safe for consumption.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
just never know if it's
Mhm.
thawed and then frozen again. That's
Yeah,
just not good.
The Consumer Council actually is working for with the municipal council health inspectors, and we are moving around and like we are doing regular checkups, and we continuously. It's not us; it's the municipal council health inspectors who go and condemn the meat, because we identify the issues and then we follow certain procedures, and then we get the health inspectors from the municipal council involved.
Right.
So they are the ones who go and make, and if it's not fit for consumption, they are the ones who condemn the meat.
So we can even call you on the 155. Is that a free toll line or?
Yes, it's a free toll line number, and they can use either Digicel or
Vodafone,
or Inc. to
landline
give,
numbers.
or landline numbers to give us the call.
Ah, that's great information. I'll probably be the next one complaining. Yes, okay. So I saw the news as well, you talking about the incorrect labeling on milk products. You might like to elaborate on that one again?
Yeah, there was a brand called Milkyo that was brought to Fiji. So what we saw was that it was not meeting the labeling requirement. For example, as per the labeling, as per the Food Safety Act, Section 13, which is the labeling requirement, it clearly states first and foremost, everything should be in English so that people can read and understand. And then the manufacturer, distributor, the name and address of the manufacturer, distributor, packer, all these details are to be on that box or on that whatever food product it is. And then what it was violating with the source was not there, and at the same time it was not advising the consumers about the storage. Because
Right.
there's a few times it is like for milk products especially, you need to say after opening what is the temperature that it needs to be stored in, so that the milk is good for some time.
Yes.
So those information were missing. So once again, when we found out, we worked with the municipal council, the Ministry of Health, and made sure that that was removed from the shelf.
Okay, so how did it come through to start off with in the beginning? How do we get products that come into our country like this? Is there any answer to that?
Yeah. I think whatever comes through it passes through the custom
Border
checks, the
control, yes.
border control checks. But
Okay.
yeah, maybe you can get that
Okay.
response
The
from
proper
Ministry
response
of
from,
Health, and
Ministry of Health.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
next time I get them on the show, I will definitely have to ask them that question. But yes, we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Thank you for your company. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Hope you're enjoying the program. Our guest today is from the Consumer Council of Fiji, the CEO, Sima, and we've also got the Manager Campaigns, Information and Media, Tevita Vuimbao. So this is your time to ask a question if you have one, and it's 3220-906, the number to call, or 7732-906. Now we're going to move on to counterfeit mobile phones. Now, there's an issue here, I believe, that you've picked up. So maybe Tevita Vuimbao, you might be able to tell us all about this one.
Sure, Vinaka Louise. So the council has recently started a campaign to educate consumers about counterfeit mobile phones. We've started this campaign because we've noticed that there's been an increase in complaints specifically to do with mobile phone products. There's about 643 in the last 4 years. That's about a total monetary value of more than $148,000. So, quite a significant amount of money that consumers are losing because of counterfeit mobile phones.
Okay.
So we're just conducting this campaign to educate consumers about the effects of using mobile phones, why counterfeits, are maybe not the best investment for your money. There are a number of issues that consumers need to be aware of, especially with regards to counterfeit mobile phones, and how to, differentiate between counterfeits and the originals, because sometimes it can be quite difficult to differentiate.
Yes, it would be. But do you know how to?
Well, counterfeiting is a phenomena which is an emerging problem throughout the world. Because if you look at the stats, 180 million counterfeit mobile phones are produced and sold annually. So Fiji, it's not an issue only in Fiji; it's the worldwide issue.
Okay.
And the greatest challenge for all the countries is weakening the demand for counterfeit products, because we know that it comes cheap. It comes at 1/10 of the price of the original brand.
Okay, so when people are buying it, they know that it's counterfeit? Yes, no, sometimes?
Most of the times, like supposedly if they are buying counterfeit mobile phones, it's quite difficult to tell. However, if you are buying other counterfeit products, like if you take the example of that brand Guess, right? It's a very expensive handbags and other accessories that comes into a market. But if there is a counterfeit Guess product that is sold at a lower price, we will be able to tell that it's a fake product. But with mobile phone, it becomes a bit difficult, because
Yes.
the desire for people to have new and branded phones, because almost every year, new Samsung series hits our market, series hits our markets, or iPhone hits our market. So people, the youngsters, and even the Y and Z generation, they love these new series mobile phones.
Yes.
So the desire to have that and at a lower price actually, pushes them into this buying of counterfeit mobile products.
So are they aware that it's counterfeit? Sometimes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe sometimes they are aware, but the way it's being sold to them, because when they are looking at the box, it says all features are very much similar. So but what they don't realize is that the features may be same, but the software that is used in that counterfeit mobile product is quite outdated. The software used in the original mobile phones is quite advanced. So once they purchase the phone, then after purchasing the phone is the time when they start having issues, because the phone starts freezing, or they are not
Right.
able to download the wanted apps, because there are certain apps that people want to use in a touch phone. So those are some of the issues they start facing.
Right. Okay, so any advice on how you should tackle this as a consumer?
So before purchasing any counterfeit mobile products, there are few things that they need to take care of. So these are some of the things that they need to focus on, that will help them to differentiate between the original and the counterfeit mobile phones. One is the appearance. Like
Okay.
sometimes it is quite similar, but then you have to have a closer look at the screen size. It might be slightly smaller than the original mobile phone. Also look at the battery, because the battery, sometimes you will see the brand is different, or look at the brand, the name, or the way the brand of the phone is written. If you look closely, then you will be able to differentiate, because the way it is written.
Okay,
Yeah.
compared to the original.
The original ones. Yeah.
Yes.
And also the features, because no matter how much they say that it's very much similar, all the features are there, but it's better to compare. I'm not promoting any mobile sellers here, but if you really want to buy it, it's better you go to Vodafone or you go to Digicel, because they are selling the original mobile phones.
Exactly.
So what they
Yes.
can do is they can go and check the features there, and then come back and check the features of the phone that they want to buy, whether it's locally or online.
Right.
So if there's any missing features, then definitely it's fake. Yeah. And if they are selling you at a very lower price compared to the price the original phones are being sold at, definitely it's fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are some of the things they need to check. And if they see that the prices are very low, fake. If the features are not similar, it's fake.
Right. I mean, what's
Yeah.
the use? You want to go and buy a counterfeit one and it won't last you as long.
And,
You're still
and
losing money
yeah,
there.
and
Exactly,
very
yes.
important is the IMEI number, which is the
Ah.
International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, which will not be present in the counterfeit mobile
Oh,
phone.
that's a good information because I
Yeah.
know this one too. If you get your phone stolen, if you keep your IME number, police can track it down anywhere. But I should keep that a secret.
And also availability, because sometimes what happens is when the original phone is out of stock, but you see that, the shop that you are buying the phone, there's abundance in stock. So that is also telling you definitely it's fake.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so these are some of the things that the consumers need to check before they purchase any phone at a lower price, much, much lower price than the price that is quoted by the original mobile phone sellers.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing that with us. But we've come to an end for this segment, but we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, and just great to have company from the Consumer Council of Fiji, the Chief Executive, Sima, and Tevita Vumimbao, who is the Manager Campaigns, Information and Media. So we'll just keep on that subject about the counterfeit phones. I think that you've got something else that you want to add on.
Sure. So counterfeit phones, they pose a lot of consumer issues for consumers and, on the broader economy in general. For consumers on an individual level, counterfeit phones, they're made with substandard products, substandard operating systems and cheap components. So they may not offer the same functionality as the genuine model. Sometimes when you're on a phone and immediately it freezes or, you have issues connecting with apps. These are all issues for consumers. There are also a lot of health hazards associated with using counterfeit mobile phones. Based on international research, they've shown that counterfeit mobile phones, they'll sometimes contain higher than acceptable levels of lead and mercury. These are health hazards for consumers if they are exposed over a long period of time. So it's really another reason that we are actively advocating against counterfeit mobile phones. There are also, like I mentioned, implications for the economy.
Maybe you could want to highlight on the different health issues, or what they may face, like things like, sorry, I would like to highlight on that, because as he has said that there is a presence of a high level of lead. So exposure to high level of lead may also risk the consumers for high blood pressure, right? So it can lead to high blood pressure, heart diseases, kidney diseases, and even for ladies, it can reduce the fertility rate.
Wow.
So this is we are not saying this is as per the research that has proven all these things when there is presence of high leads in the environment or whatever item you are using.
I mean, because we use the phone all the time. I mean,
Exactly,
I even
we
fall
can't
asleep
stay
with
without
it.
our phones, yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'm, on watching a documentary at night before I sleep. And imagine if you have a counterfeit phone, what damage it's doing to
Yeah,
you.
as I'm saying, the generation Y and Z, every time you see, even when they go to bed, their earphones are all plugged in their ears and the phone. They're still using the phone while they're
Yeah,
sleeping.
and then it's just lying there beside you.
Yeah. So
Oh, yes. Very important to know.
Right. And these health hazards are extended when you consider that some of these mobile phones will be thrown away. And so these high levels of lead and mercury will go into the environment because they'll be thrown in landfills. So it's really just not good for anybody.
Even for the environment as well. All right, then. So maybe we shall move on to vehicles. If you're listening, you've got a vehicle or you have something to say about vehicles. Now, it's about purchasing used vehicles from private sellers. There's something that's come up with the Consumer Council. What is it?
there's a big difference when you purchase vehicles from, like the private dealership or from the dealership that is like out there, like ESCO or bigger dealerships. So what actually happened, the complaints that we are receiving is this dealing between private individuals. So there have been cases where, because they were friends, so the one of the complainant bought the vehicle from the respondent. They were very great friends, so he ended up paying 9,000 and only 500 was left. So when 500 was left, the respondent refused to transfer the vehicle on his name. So now he is refusing to pay the amount that has been paid to him. That's 9,000 plus he's not willing to give the vehicle. And then we have other issues where people are buying vehicles from private owners, and then after just a few days after buying the vehicle, they come to find out that there are a lot of issues with the vehicle.
So they're taking it on a trust kind of
Yeah, so
based
because
relationship.
they end up, because they're getting good value for their money, because
Yeah.
when you are dealing with private vehicle owners, you can get vehicles for between 6 to 10,000, which is coming quite cheap for some people, right?
Yes, there's always a
Yeah.
temptation there, the cheapness of stuff.
Yeah, so there are few things that the people need to research on before actually engaging with the private owners, like before buying the vehicle. They should actually what they need to do is take their own mechanics for checkers, because I mean, like me myself, if I'm buying a vehicle, I don't know what are the issues with the vehicle. Only the mechanics will know.
Yeah, that's so true, because
Yeah.
even I was planning to buy a car, and I said, I will definitely get a mechanic to have, get a good checkup of the car, and a good mechanic friend too.
Exactly, yeah, and you need to get an independent mechanic, not the mechanic of that person or that particular
Yes.
person that you are buying the car from.
True.
And also it should pass the eye test, look for all the exterior and the finishing of the vehicle. Sometimes it looks so nice from outside that we get enticed to buy it, right?
But the inside?
Yeah, so test drive the vehicle. If there's any sound coming from the engine, that means then you need to think about it again. Because
Right.
as I said recently, when this couple spent 6,500 on
That's-
purchasing that vehicle,
That's a lot of money.
and then the very next day after the purchase, it stopped working because the engine seized, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
so
and
they were
now,
just conned.
exactly. And because they have signed a contract where it says, the owner says that the based on my knowledge, this vehicle is fit for the road. So yeah, now they can't do much. I mean, the complaint is with us, but because they have already signed and taken the vehicle, they have paid. So we're trying to help our consumer, but once you sign a document, that becomes a legal document.
So, I mean, you basically are teaching the consumer to be smart.
To be very smart, and if you are, don't be afraid to say no, right? If you have some suspicion about that vehicle, and if you think that it might create some problems in future, don't buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah? Because you are losing thousands of dollars. Even 6,000-7,000 is a lot of money. That's
Oh.
a hard-earned money.
That is hard-earned money. That's just not fair. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, our Talkback show has come to an end. And I thank you so much, the CEO of the Consumer Council of
Thank
Fiji.
you.
I'm getting tongue-tied here. Sima Shandir, and also Tevita Wimbao, the Manager Campaigns Information and Media. Thank you for joining us on Speak Your Mind.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you so much.
And we'd love to catch up with you next time.
Definitely.
All right, great. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Until next time, take care. Nisamo Demanda.